the concept of information hiding, and the concept of abstraction. So the concept of abstraction is like this. It's whereby we separate the logical properties from the implementation. So that's the definition of the concept of abstraction. But we're separating the logical properties from the implementation. And then the encapsulation now. And the encapsulation, we want to put the variables and the member functions and variables into a capsule. And that capsule is called a class. So that now we have the power to restrict the accessibility of the member variables. So that means we can set the member variables to private or to protected. So by doing so, we restrict the accessibility from outside the class, or from the code that is outside the class. So that means now the member variables are private. So that means they are not accessible directly outside the class. Yes. But then the question now is, okay, I understand that we make the variables private and they are not accessible outside the class. And we write the code into shape files. So that means now, but now, how are we going to access those members that are private? How are we going to access those members that are private? It's easy. To access those members that are private, you are going to make the member functions public. We are going to use searchers and getters, and we are going to make them public. So now I'm talking about the functions or the member functions, and they are public. So that means now, if they are public, they are accessible within the class and outside the class because they are public. Whereas those that are private are only accessible within the class. They are not accessible outside the class. Yes. So and now we have a constructor. We have a default constructor which is used to initialize the variables and sorry, excuse me, it does not have parameters. It does not have return type. It has the same name as the class name. So when you're defining a constructor, it's a function that has the same name as a class name. This function does not have a return type. And now a default constructor, it's a function that has the same name as the class name. It does not have a return type and it does not have parameters. And it's used to initialize the member variables. So that is the default constructor. And then we have the parameter constructor. See now the parameter constructor now as the name says, parameter. That means it has parameter. So that what makes it different from the default constructor. And the parameter constructor now, it's a function that has the same name, it's a class name. This function does not have the return type, but this function has parameters. And this function is used to initialize member variables. The default parameter here, it's used to initialize member variables to the default values, and the default to the default values, whereas the parameter constructor is used to initialize the member variables. You are going to see it in action. So now let me start and create my class. So you go to file, you go to new, you go to project, you go to empty project, and then you click OK. And then you wait. You go to the folder C++ project, you create a new project, then new project, then you say employee, then you click OK, and say save. Yes. Then you create your class. So this class is a C++ keyword. So it's always, all the C++ keywords always starts with a small letter. So this always starts with a small letter. And then I create now the class name, which is employee. And then let's go to the access specifier. Access specifier, private access specifier, which is private. And then I say, okay, it's a string name, and then it's then it's public, then I'm going to, so now this is public access specifier, public access specify, yes. So now that means now these members are only accessible within the class. They are not accessible outside the class. The public members, which is the first one, default constructor, default constructor, which is set a constructor is a function with the same name as a class name. So our class name is employee. So that means the default constructor going to have employee, a function that it has the same name as the class name because it's a default constructor. And then I do the parameter constructor. And then the parameter constructor, it's like this. And then you put your variables, string. Then you put your so this is a function prototype. This is a function prototype. So these are constructors because we see that they have the same name as the class name. This one is a default constructor. It's used to initialize the member variables to the default values. This one is a parameter constructor. And then let me go to mutator functions. Mutator functions. So these functions are called mutator functions because they are able to modify data. They are able to modify the data. And then we have void and then we have string. And yes, that. And then I have, let me just put set so if you look closely, so set, it's made of small letters, and then name starts with the capital letter. You see, so name is this one. I have on your set function, I have to see your name. So it's set name, but the name must start with a capital letter on this mutative function. Even the set salary, I have to say salary, but salary must start with the capital letter. The salary must start with the capital letter. And then I go to my accessor function. Accessor functions. So these functions, they don't modify data. They just retrieve the data from the object. But these ones, they are able to modify data inside the object. And then I have a string. I have pet name. This function does not modify data, it just retrieves the data only. You can see in the get functions, it's add with a small letter, and then salary starts with a capital letter. Const. And now I have I can print or I cannot print, it's up to me. But let's not print, or let's print, or let's just print void print and display so this one is just printing the data. It's just printing the data. So since I have a string there, I have to put that thing, which is the headers, hashtag include string. Then that string can even say hashtag include output string header file. And then using namespace td. And then I'm going to save this class. Let's just say save as, and then I put that one, and then the class name employee. So you see, you go here first, you go to headers, and then you save. So that is my class. But I can put also a destructor here. I can put a destructor here. I can put a destructor here like this. And then a destructor also is used for the resource management. So that means I can delete my object using what? Using a destructor. So it has the same name as a class name. It has the same name as a class name. Now I'll go here. So you see I have this class now. And I want to write now the implementations for those functions. So as you can see, I have the default constructor, I have the parameter constructor, I have the set, I have. So if I do to just do it like that, copy them, copy and paste, so that you don't forget who is who. And then include the header file. Employee. So the header file is this one. You include this guy. Employee. Employee.h. Employee.h. And then you do this. You paste that. And you do that. You do that. You do that. Yeah, that one is solved. All right, where was I? So you do that, 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 you do that. So where we did this one. So this is employee class. It has two private member variables, the name, the salary, and then it has a default constructor. So a default constructor is a function. This function has the same name as a class name. The class name is employee, and this default constructor, which is a function, it has the same name as the class name, and it does not have a return type because as you can see, there's nothing here, there's nothing before the function name. So that means this function has no return type. And even this one, the parameter constructor, does not have a return type, but it has the parameters. And we have the mutator functions. Mutator functions are able to modify data inside the object. And then we have the accessor functions. So these functions don't have the power to modify data into the object. And lastly, we have the destructor. The destructor is used to allocate the space that was allocated. That means during the object, the space is allocated. But now when the program goes outside the scope, so now we just want to deallocate that space that was allocated for that object. So basically the destructor is used for memory management. Yes. And now let's continue. So at this part, you just want to write the implementations or the definitions for these function prototype. Everything under the public in this class, which is employee, it's a function. So now these are not functions because they don't have a body. So in order for a function to be a function, it must have what? A body. So these are partially functions, or so now these are called the default, the function prototypes or the function declarations, because these are the declarations of the functions. These are not the functions. Now, the functions are going to be on the side at the time of writing their definitions. So when you're writing the definition of a function, you start with the return type. But since the class, since the constructor does not have the return type, we'll just go to the class name and the original parameter. Then you come here and then you copy this as it is. Copy. You put it there because it belongs there. And then what else? What else? And then you delete the data types. The data types, you delete the data types. Then you assign, you initialize the name with the default value, which is null or an empty string. And then salary to 0.0. Now let's write the definition for constructor. So it's a class name, copy the original operator, and then the definition. So now this is a function because it has a body. But this one, it's not a function. This one, yes, this one is not a function. It's a function prototype because it does not have a body. So let me write div. So you add the identifiers for function prototypes. which is N for name. Then you just say, alright, it's name, which is N is equal to name equal to N. So that means the content of N, which is the value of N, is going to be passed here by val. It's going to be copied to the left side. It's going to be copied to the left side. And now, even the salary now. But now the salary can never be negative. So that means you have to validate salary. Validate salary. But how to validate the salary? We are only going to put the salary inside the object which is greater than 0 or which is positive. So just say if salary so when you're validating, just say if, then you say salary greater than 0. So 0, it's enough. It's greater than 0. Then you say, all right. So the salary is equal to S. So this is the salary. If salary is greater than 0, salary is equal to S. And then this is our constructor. And now we have the set function. So what I love about these functions is that the function only, there's a rule which says that a function must do only one job. As you can see, set salary is doing one job. It just puts the salary inside the object of the employee. And yes, so this is like, okay, salary is equal to S. Listen, yes. Then the get now, which is retrieve. So this part now retrieves. This part, yes, it retrieves. So this part it retrieves the name from the object. As it retrieves the name from the object. So just say return name. And then we see there's something wrong with these two, because if you remember the syntax for writing the definition of a function, we start with the function at the return type of the function, and then it followed by the class name, and then scope resolution operator. So even here, so we have the void and then the class name, then we have the scope resolution operator, and then the function. So even here, I have the return type, the class name, the scope resolution operator, yes, and then return the salary. Yes. So now this just retrieves the getters. They retrieve the data from the object and then store it. And then I have another one, which is display. So we start there. the return type, which is void, but a void it returns nothing. Yes. And then we have employee, and we have scope resolution operator. Yes. And then I have C out. And I have so what's that? And then I have and line. So there's this one, which is the salary. Let's start with the name first. Say okay, name. And then we put that. Then we say get. So now I'm just going to print using the get functions. You see, I'm just going to print using the get functions. Copy, yes, and then I put that there. I put that there. I put that there. That's it. Yes. And then now, so this one it's the emotion. So this one, yes. So then the indentation. Indentation can be largely up. Yes. Largely given. That's a statement that return. Yes. Yes. So at this point, I want to print the salary. Salary. Then get the salary. Get the salary. Get salary. Get salary. Get salary. So at this point, I'm just printing the name of an employee and the salary of an employee. But where am I getting those values from? The accessor functions. Because they go and fetch the values and then store them. And then store to them for other purposes. Then yes, let's even write the definition for this one. So let's say this class name. Resolution operator. Scope resolution operator. Let's go resolution operator, and then we have its structure. And we have this out. I just want to demonstrate allocate. Memory. Yes. Allocate what the memory. So this one is called a destructor. Even now in the same name as the class name, but yeah, it has the same name as the class name. So let's just save this one. Let's save this one and say it's a .c employee.c. Let's run that one. A number of errors. S was not declared. Why is that? Set salary. Salary is S. Then we have the set void set salary, set name. Where is the set name? Void set name, and put the string and then we put it. Then we say set name, set salary, and then you just say and should name is equal to n. So that means I'm copying the content that is on the right side to the left side. Yes. And then fix this one. We know the tree, it's a class name. Resolution operator. So let's combine. Let's combine. So expected. Oh, I left that. Excuse me. So yeah, so this one is perfect. Even this one is perfect. Let's create now another file which let's call it driver code. Driver code. Because it tests all the classes. So the execution of the program is going to begin here. Include employee location. Then I say, all right. So I start to say int to the main function, by the way. Then I say return 0. Boom. And then now I want to declare object employee1. Okay, employee, all right, employee1. Yes. So before I declare the object, did you guys understand this? Let me come to you. Do you guys understand this before I go to the main file? Do you guys understand this? Import load. Wait. Yes. So guys, do you understand this? I'm a little bit tired myself, but I'm pushing. Yeah, I understand this part that we did the class, the implementation. So this is the implementation for all those functions. Isakhona guys noma kuleliwe. Yena wafe baquleke balala. Uzimekile umuntu. Sure. Yes. So let me create the main function. So the main function. So the main function. So inside the main function, we are going to create our object. Is, let me say, employee 1. So the space now is allocated. So that means the variable employee 1 now arises from the ashes. Yes. And then what's their functions here? Like employee, set salary, get name. So those are the getters and setters, and the concept of constructors. Yes. And now here, so here I'm going to just allocate a space or create a variable to store the name, your surname, your salary. But now since it's the employee, I'm going to use the salary and the name. So it's void, it's employee and dot. So I have this circuit function, set name, or else I can just say, okay, all right, wait, set name. So this is where the import is going to be inserted in order for you to go to the object which is employee 1. So we can just say that. Then also I have employee 1 dot set salary. Then the salary, that's this comrade is getting paid 1.5. All right. Let's say for argument's sake, that is 1,500 that you're getting paid. And then what else? But I just wanted to show you this part also. Okay. All right. So at this point, I'm passing the name by value. At this point, I'm passing the salary by value. You see? Yes. And now let me just call the get functions. Employee 1 dot get name. Employee 1 dot get salary. Get salary. Get salary. Get salary. Yes. And then I will compile to convert it into a binary language. And then you have the error, which is non-class type employee. Okay. Where's it? Set name. Set salary, get name, get salary. Okay, and then return our request for member. Set name is employee, which is non-class type employee. Okay. All right. So request member set salary, which is non-class type employee 1. Okay. So we also have this part. Let me do that first. Yes. All right. Yes. And then I have, okay. So I have this thing of initializing the member, and I can say 0.01. Yes. And then that's the salary. The salary is not a string. You have to forgive me, dear Sarah. Yes, then that's one. Then see one. Where's the display function? Or maybe I didn't define the display function here. Ah, there you are, display. But so there's something wrong. We'll start this one later. Then I have retrieved the name, and I have retrieved the salary, and now I have to print. Then I say, okay, let's run the code. Class has no member display. Display, let's go and look for the function prototype. The method. Let's always start with a small letter. And I compile again, return 0, it's O, not 0. Then the program runs. That one. It's a clearly the one. And you compile. It's undefined reference display. Yes. So this display const. Yes. And then there's that one. So let's remove that file. And then we have this thing of ours, or this code of ours. And then undefined reference to employee display constant. All right, so we have this file, which is this one. Fix it. Yes. So that we can be free. So let me fix the indentation. Deallocate all the time. So we have that one. So we have the name, which is Nyagama Mahla Salary 1,500. So let's put whatever I call it. So it's the currency, which is rand. Yes, so we have salary, which is 1,500. Then deallocate the memory of just using the structure. Yes. So thank you guys for this one. I'm very tired. I apologize. Manilala. Shabuga. Me understand you at least. If you some bits.
Yeah,
All right. Let's hope Let's hope kuvakele. Let's hope kuvakele. Yeah.
Apha ngicela ubuza apha kunansi apha kanye kule
Yes.
kwinansi kwi-mutators ne-accessors kufuneka uset name angafani ne-member variable, like lo name also i-capital letter, that one where member variable straight private.
Yes, always funeka siqala ngo-set, then uname funeka aqale nge-capital letter all the time. So set, then the name that is going to follow set, or the letter that is going to follow set is going to start with the capital letter always. Yes. So yes.